Hello and welcome back to another session on cybersecurity. In this session, we're going to take a look at a demo on a firewall by name UFW, which is called as an uncomplicated firewall. So this comes by default installed on Ubuntu. So we'll be seeing how to use this firewall. We'll be writing some rules and then we'll understand how to enable or block traffic on certain ports using this firewall. So if you're going to follow this demonstration, you need two systems. One is Kali Linux. This machine, it is running on my virtual box, and the IP address for Kali Linux is 192.168.44.4. I'm going to use this machine to scan my Ubuntu machine for open ports and things like that. So my another machine is Ubuntu, which is running on VirtualBox, and these two machines are connected using this network option on VirtualBox, that is host-only adapter, and they form a network. And this is the IP address for my Ubuntu machine, 192.168.44.3. So these two systems, virtual machines, form a network. Let me ping from my Kali Linux to this Ubuntu machine. So we can see four packets transmitted and four packets received. So I'm going to use these two machines for this demonstration. So Ubuntu, this is where I'll be running my firewall UFW. So even before starting off with the firewall, I want certain ports here to be open, especially the FTP port to be open and running. So for this, I had to run a few commands to install this FTP server and enable this port so that this port is open. And the next thing I've done is I have used UFW to block traffic on this port. So if you're new to enabling FTP services on Ubuntu, I'll just give you the commands. I've already enabled this support. For instance, what is that you have to do is you should install sudo apt install. We have to install this vsftpd service on Ubuntu. So this will install. And for installation alone, you should be connecting to this network like NAT network, because you'll be in need of the internet connection. So host only adapter will not allow you to connect to the internet. So you can connect to NAT, install, and then change it to host only adapter. So I have installed this service already, and you can also go to this. You should be going to this file that is in this folder, and vsftpd.configuration file, and you should see to that local enable. So this specific rule should be yes, local underscore enable is equal to S. And this will allow local users to log in. And we can also allow write enable to be yes, so that this will allow users to upload files using your FTP service. So these are the two things that we should enable. And once we have changed the configuration file, the next thing is we can start the service. Systemctl start vsftpd. That's it. So that's going to start our FTP service. So our system is going to be listening for incoming traffic in port 21. So how is that we can ensure that our VSFTPD service is running? We can very well perform a scan. Say I can perform a simple nmap scan, scanning for all the services running in port 21 for this IP. So just we'll see whether port 21, the FTP traffic is open for this specific Ubuntu machine. So here you can see port 21 is open. The service is FTP and the version is VSFTPD 3.0.5. And we have this specific service open on Ubuntu system. So what does that mean is I can perform an FTP from my Kali Linux to Ubuntu. I can enter the username and password. So now you see remote login successful. So we can now upload files or download files from Kali Linux to Ubuntu machine. So here we have this system wherein a port is open, the FTP port is open. So I had to install this FTP server, have this ports open just for this demonstration on how we can use UFW to allow or block traffic on this specific port and other ports too. So this is the initial setup I had for this demonstration. And if you're going to follow this, I want you to have the same setup so that you get the same results as we see in this demo. So now let me exit this FTP and let me clear the screen. Now let's focus on this firewall UFW. So how you can install this firewall? Suppose you don't have this firewall, you can go with apt install UFW. And once when you have installed this firewall, you can go with starting the service system CTL start UFW. So this is going to start the firewall. You can also use UFW enable to start the firewall. So firewall is active and enabled on system startup. So what is the difference between system CTL start UFW and UFW enable is this you have to give every time you are going to boot up, you have to enable the firewall by giving this command. But when you say UFW enable, every time you boot up, this firewall will be active on system startup. So these two rules enable the firewall, but this will be like automatically enabling it during system startup. So that's the difference. So you can enable the firewall on your system using UFW enable. Now, what we can do is we can also disable the firewall by giving UFW disable. You can also disable or stop the firewall by typing systemctl stop UFW. So that's also fine. So we have seen how to enable and disable the firewall. Now we have disabled the firewall. Now we'll write some default policies. Say by default I want to allow all incoming traffic, or by default I want to block all incoming traffic. See what are these default policies? By default I can allow or block. I can allow or block all incoming traffic. So this is by default. So let me by default block all incoming traffic. So how will you block all incoming traffic by default? UFW default deny incoming. So this is going to block all incoming traffic. And we can also have a policy wherein by default I allow all outgoing traffic. By default, what is that I'm going to do is I will allow outgoing traffic from my machine. So how is that you allow outgoing traffic? For that, you are going to type UFW. Default is the keyword, allow is the keyword, and outgoing. So all these things are rules we are framing. By default, I am blocking all incoming traffic. By default, I'm allowing all outgoing traffic. It can also be vice versa based on your needs. I can either allow or block incoming and outgoing traffic by default. So we have configured these two rules. What are those rules? That is, by default, we deny incoming. By default, we allow outgoing. Okay, these two default policies we have created. Now we'll write some specific rules for allowing incoming traffic. Say we have blocked all incoming traffic now. Let's allow let's allow some incoming traffic on certain ports. So how to do that? We can use these commands UFW allow, and then you can mention the port number and the protocol if required. So UFW allow 21, and the protocol here is transmission control protocol. So rules updated. So we have now allowed traffic on port number 21. Like that, you can also allow traffic on other ports. UFW allow 22. That is for SSH. You can say 22, or you can also say SSH. So you can give either the port number or you can give the service. Say I will allow traffic on 3306. That is the port number where my MySQL database server is going to be listening for requests. I can also say UFW allow uh, HTTP traffic. That is with respect to port number 80. So you can write your own rules for allowing traffic on certain ports. So now we have allowed traffic on certain ports. Let's take a look at the status. So where are the what are the ports I'm allowing traffic on? For that, the command is UFW status. So now the status is the firewall is inactive. So let us enable it. UFW enable. So the firewall is enabled. Now let's go with UFW status. So now you see we have enabled the firewall, and these are the rules. So the first rule is we are allowing traffic in port number 21 from any IP address. Anyone can really perform FTP if they know the username and password. Likewise, from port number 22, we are allowing traffic from any IP address to this port. We are allowing traffic from any IP address to port number 3306 and 80, that is HTTP traffic, we are allowing it from anywhere. And this V6 here specifically mentions this is for IPv6 address, traffic with respect to IPv6, whereas this is with respect to IPv4. So we have got our rules. Say we can also number these rules by just giving UFW status numbered. So we'll get a number for all these rules. And what is the use of this number is we can use it for deleting a specific rule. We can also use for inserting a specific rule in a certain order. So now let us see how we can delete a specific rule. Let me delete rule number 2, that is with respect to SSH traffic. So the keyword is UFW delete and then the rule number here. So that's why we are numbering it. The rule number here is 2. So this is going to delete that specific rule. We'll say yes. And now let us check UFW status numbered. So now we have only 7 rules. You see that specific rule number 2 for port number 22 traffic has been deleted. So there is a reordering of the rules. So whatever that was rule number 3 will now be rule number 2 after deleting this specific rule. That's what we are seeing here. So let's also delete this rule number 5. How to delete that? UFW delete rule number 5. Yes. So what all rules we have? UFW status numbered. So these are the rules we have. And what is the rule with respect to port number 21? With respect to FTP, we are allowing traffic from any IP address. So what it simply means is I can perform an FTP from any system. If I know the username and password, I'll be able to log in and transfer files, download files like that. So FTP is now allowed on this specific machine. That's what we understand. Now what I will do is I will delete this rule number 1 and rule number 4 with respect to FTP traffic. Then we'll block traffic on port number 21. So for this, first let's delete. So it's delete, it's UFW delete. What is the rule? Rule number 1. Yes. So UFW status number. So what other rule I want to delete? I want to delete rule number 3 with respect to FTP traffic. So UFW delete rule number 3. Yes. So what all rules we have with respect to this firewall? UFW status numbered. You see now I've deleted all the rules with respect to that specific FTP traffic. Now I'm going to tell you how to block or deny traffic in a specific port. How will you block or deny traffic in a specific port? Say if I want to block traffic in port number 21, the keyword is UFW deny 21. So now this rule is added. Let's take a look at the status, UFW status number. So you can very well see here 21, you're going to deny FTP on this specific port from any IP address. Now we have enabled this, right? This firewall is already enabled. So firewall is active and enabled. So now what we'll check is whether we can perform an FTP now. Now we are blocking traffic. Can we perform an FTP now? So it is FTP and then that specific IP address. You see now we are not getting the prompt to enter the username and password because we have denied FTP traffic on port number 21. So that's how you can write rules wherein you can allow traffic in specific ports, we can block traffic in specific ports, or else we can by default block or allow traffic in all the ports. So this is what we are seeing here. We have denied the traffic. So once when you allow traffic, you're going to have this FTP working. Let me stop this. Now what I'm going to teach you is one more important thing. So here is that we have a deny. Let me allow traffic now. What is that? UFW allow 21. So what is the status now? UFW status numbered. So now you're going to have, what is that we are going to have here is, see, in port number 21, we are going to allow traffic. Once when you allow traffic, will you be able to perform an FTP? See, immediately you're getting the prompt to enter the username and password, or FTP is going to work fine. So this is what we understand. We can block traffic or we can allow traffic. The command for allowing is UFW allow the port number. For blocking is UFW deny and then the port number. So this is very effective. We can very well see what ports are open. We can very well restrict traffic on those ports. Not only that, instead of just like that allowing traffic from anywhere, we can allow traffic from a specific IP address on a specific port. I'll tell you how to perform that. Oh, even before going into that, let me exit this FTP service. And now let's go back to Ubuntu. Let me delete the rules corresponding to port number 21. So that is rule number 3 and rule number 6. Um, so UFW delete rule number 3, and now rule number 6 will be rule number 5. So UFW delete rule number 5. So we have deleted. What is the status now? UFW status numbered. So you can see we don't have anything configured for rule number, for port number 21. So what we'll do now is we'll allow traffic on port number 21 from a specific IP address. So how to perform that is UFW allow from IP 192.168.44.4 to any port 21. Oh, I'm sorry. It's like UFW allow from. It's not IP. You have to just give the IP address here 192.168.44.4 to any port 21. So what is that we are seeing here? Let's take a look at this UFW status numbered. So here we are seeing that we are allowing traffic in port number 21 only from this IP address. If there is going to be any other IP address that's going to attempt an FTP, it's going to be refused. So now let's take a look at this. Can we really perform an FTP from this IP? Yes, this is 44.4, so you'll be allowed to perform an FTP. So we're able to perform this. So what is that we understand here is we can allow traffic from any specific IP address to any specific port number. That is allowed in UFW. You can also allow or block outgoing traffic to say UFW allow out HTTP. So this is like we are allowing outgoing traffic in port number 80. We can also deny traffic that is going out in port number 80. So here I can just like that deny. So this is outgoing traffic in port number 80. So rule added. Now you see UFW status numbered. So what is that we have here is out. Out here means outgoing traffic. In here means incoming traffic. So that's what we are seeing here in port number 80. We are denying outgoing traffic, whereas we are allowing incoming traffic in port number 21. I hope you're able to follow all these rules very effective. So you can use firewalls for uh, allowing or blocking traffic. Not only that, we can also log. So how you log whatever traffic that's coming in is you can use this command UFW logging on. So this is going to enable logging, and where you will find the logs for your specific firewall is you have to go to this specific folder log, and then you have to check this file ufw.log. So you have a file created here. So nano ufw.log. Uh, is this nothing logged here so far, or it's ufw dot log? Let me. So now this is that specific file. There's an ufw.log.1 created. So here you can very well see there is this specific rule that's created block traffic. Um, So what is the destination? What is the source IP address? What is the destination IP address? What is the interface? All those things. So you're going to have the protocol, interface, and all these things logged in for you in the log. So you can always refer to the logs to know what kind of traffic has been blocked or what kind of rules have been enabled. There's one more thing I want to tell you, that is you can reset all the rules that you have configured in your firewall by just giving UFW reset. That's it. It'll just remove all the rules. Let's reset now. Yes, that's it. All the rules are gone. Let's clear the screen. Let's check UFW status numbered. So the firewall is inactive. So UFW enable. Let's check UFW status numbered. So all the rules that we have written now have been reset. So this is one important thing. Another one important thing is you need to write specific rules on top of generic rules. What do you mean by this? See, let me have two rules. This is very important. See, I'm going to allow traffic on port number 21 from this IP 192.168.44.4. So this is a very specific rule, and this rule should always come on top of generic rules. What is the generic rule? Deny traffic on port 21. So this is a generic rule. I'm going to deny traffic from all sources in port number 21. But this generic rule should be following a very specific rule. So whatever that comes on top will be first applied. Say, let me now write these rules. That is, uh, deny UFW deny 21. So this is like denying traffic in port number 21 from any IP address. So when you take a look at this, UFW status numbered. So this is denying traffic from anywhere. And now if you're going to have a specific rule, say I'm going to allow traffic from 192.168.44.4 in port number 21 from this specific IP, what is the rule? UFW uh, allow from 192.168.44.4 to any port 21. So now let's take a look at this UFW status number. So you can very well see we are having this specific rule following a generic rule. Will this even work? Now I am allowing FTP from this Kali Linux machine. Let me check whether this works. Let's perform an FTP. And you see, I'm not able to perform an FTP. That's because of this rule order. We have a very generic rule coming on top of this specific rule. So how to actually correct this? First, you should have this rule. Next, you should have this generic rule. So what I will do now is let me stop this. Let's rearrange this rule here. So let me delete UFW, delete rule number 1. And now what is there? UFW status numbered. So now you have the specific rule. Now let's put up that generic rule. What is that? UFW deny 21. So this is going to deny all traffic from any IP. So this is like a generic rule. So now you have the specific rule on top and the generic rule following it. Now what we'll do is we'll try and perform an FTP. So it's FTP. And now you see the FTP is working. Earlier it was not working, but now it's going to work. So it's in login incorrect. Let's try it again. So Satish. So now you see the FTP is allowed. That's because we have the specific rule on top of the generic rule. So this is very important while you're ordering your rules. Always have the specific rules on top of the generic rules. With that, I'm coming to an end of this session. I hope you had a very good insight on what UFW is and how to write rules wherein we can block or allow traffic on certain ports. And one important question arises. Say you have a policy to block traffic in port number 80. So, what is this policy? This is an organizational security policy. Based on the security policy, you'll be framing your firewall rules and you'll be enabling such rules on your firewall. And I hope you all had an insight on what UFW is and how you can write various rules to allow or block traffic and also log whatever traffic that your firewall gets. With that, we are coming to an end of this session. If you have any questions, you can leave those questions as comments below. I'll be looking at it. That's it for now. Have a great day.